But back to the Liberals' big announcement today, the one I predicted yesterday.
The Liberal Party will remove a net zero target from our policy.
Now, there are 3 points, I think, to make about this decision to scrap the target of cutting our emissions to net zero by 2050, supposedly save us from global warming. One is, well, promising to scrap net zero, fantastic, right? Very damaging target, net zero by 2050. Second, the Liberals promising, though, to still cut emissions and deeper each year, less good. It's a compromise that still means more pain for no gain. And how is it going to be done? She didn't say, really. And 3, the ludicrous attacks on Susan Lee today by global warming zealots in the press pack shows how hard it will be to sell this to the public. Given this media malice, how you get through your message through it. It's like Lee had blasphemed, spat on Uluru. Some questions were simply absurd from journalists so indoctrinated in the global warming cult as to think that little Australia can change the climate. Although I've got to give her credit, Lee was okay in standing up to this utter nonsense.
So in the coming years, when Australians are counting the cost of fires and floods and other natural disasters, is your response going to be to them, don't worry, we just did our share?
You're also a grandmother. Are you concerned about the type of planet that your grandchildren are going to inherit? And is this something that you talk about with your family?
Yes, I am. And I think of my 6 grandchildren, aged under 6, every day. And I know that it is vital that they have a better world to inherit. But I look at the world that they're set to inherit if the policies of this Labor government continue. And if we do want to talk about climate change, the climate change policies of Labor are failing. They are completely failing. The other thing that I want to be able to say to my grandchildren is that you should inherit a better standard of living than my generation and your mum and dad's generation. Right now, they are set to inherit the worst standard of living since the Second World War.
Now, the good in today's announcement is not just that the Liberals will scrap the net zero targets for 2050, it will scrap all targets like the 2031 as well. It will cut government schemes that force companies to slash emissions at huge cost, schemes to make us buy expensive electric cars. It'll slash the kind of things that Labor has done that's punishing Australians. And Lee made the point that cutting emissions is fine. If we get to net zero at some stage in a sane way, that's great, but cut power prices first.
Affordable energy must come first. Under Labor, there has been this trifecta of failures. Prices up, reliability down, and emissions flatlining.
But here's the contradiction in the Liberal policy, which I suspect was done so that the Liberals wouldn't frighten off so many of these global warming believers out there, and also to keep sweet Liberals who did want to somehow stick to net zero, like Anne Ruston, who looked stony-faced at this press conference with Lee shooting a friend and ally seemingly nervous looks. The compromise is the Liberals will still stick with the Paris Agreement that commits the world to net zero, although not by 2050, but by 2100.
Australians deserve affordable energy and responsible emissions reduction. And the Liberal Party believes we can do both.
Well, actually, those two targets are in contradiction to each other, right? How's that going to be resolved? With Lee promising to still somehow cut emissions by more every year, which even this Albanese government has not managed. And by the way, other countries likewise talk, oh, net zero, big game, but they also don't back it up.
Look at what countries are doing now under the Paris Agreement with their NDCs. They're submitting NDCs that they probably know they can never keep. What we are doing is being honest with the Australian people. You have a government that has promised you 2 things that it has not delivered: affordable energy and reducing emissions. And it hasn't done either.
But, you saw the journalists and all that, Meanwhile, the Greens, they are also into, playground insults.
They look like a bunch of nutters.
But the Nationals, who forced the Liberals into backtracking by themselves first scrapping net zero, seemed right on board today. They seemed ready to make common cause with the Liberals again, which I guess is more credit to Lee.
From what I've seen on face value, I think the Liberal Party has shown great maturity and leadership to the extent of where the National Party put forward a cheaper, better, fairer plan that doesn't walk away from actually addressing climate change.